Hello and welcome to this video tutorial for Creo Parametric version 3. The content of this video tutorial is drawing templates. So previously in tutorials you've had some practice with creating parts and producing drawings of those parts. But in drawing mode we've used blank templates, so there's been no title blocks or other notes. And in this tutorial we're going to develop a drawing sheet or a format that includes title blocks, other symbols, and notes. So the idea of this drawing format is you make this A4 format once, and then you can reuse that for future drawing sheets. Now the template that we have on screen is quite detailed. It's actually over detailed to most drawings we'll be doing in this course. It has information for zonings, revision numbers and parts lists, but we won't need all those details. Instead, Chapter 1 of Boundary has some good guidance about dimensions, row widths and column heights for title blocks. So I recommend reading Chapter 1 first and planning out your drawing sheet before making it in Creo. Okay, so we'll start by opening Creo and clicking File, New, and we're going to select Format. Now it's really important to give this a useful name, so we'll call this A4 for an A4 template, and we'll call this AS1100, so we know that it is purposed for an A4 drawing sheet. Click OK. Now specify template, we'll choose empty, so there's no additional information that's provided. And in terms of our page size, we'll click A4. But I highly recommend repeating this technique for an A3 size drawing sheet, because that gives you more flexibility not only for this course, but for later courses in your degree. So we'll click A4, click OK, and the format drawing space loads. So the borders we're provided with show the extent of our A4 drawing sheet. And if we have a look at the menu options, we can insert tables, so useful for title blocks. We can include other annotations such as notes or symbols. And we can also do freehand sketching on the fly if we want to make our own symbol or include some other information. But we'll start by drawing some page borders. So we'll do this in the sketching toolbox by selecting the edge tool. And we're going to select this outer boundary and offset that by 10 mil. So we'll choose an entity chain and then hold down Control to select multiple entities. Now we have to enter an offset distance. So we'll go 10 mil and press OK. And middle click to complete. And our initial page border has been complete. Okay, now we're going to continue by inserting a table that will represent our title block. So we'll click Table, we'll click the drop down button, and we want to insert a custom table. So we'll click that. Now there's a few things to choose from. The first is the drawing direction. So we're going to select from the bottom right hand corner up, because our title block will be located in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, now we can include our number of columns, rows, and column and row height. Now I'm going to make these up, but I suggest that for your purposes, you read Boundary and ensure you have the correct column and row height as per AS1100. So we'll go 5 columns, 2 rows. We want to deselect this automatic height adjustment. We'll make the row height 10 mil and the column width 20 mil. We'll press OK. Now we need to locate this table. So there's a few options once again. We can locate it in free space or by some XY coordinate. But in this case, we're going to select a vertex and choose this bottom right hand corner. Select OK, middle click, and our table has been created. Okay, so now that we have our table, the next step is to change the color of this default geometry. So we click Line Style, Modify Lines, select our table, middle click, and in the options we can change from blue to black, OK, Apply, Close, and then middle click. We can then make further modifications to our table. For example, if we Control select multiple cells, we can merge them. So we'll practice merging several cells. Merge, Control click, and merge. And that gives us more space to enter text. We can now enter text by selecting the cell, clicking the Style option, and you can change the font height, width, color, and also text alignment. So we'll click OK. We can double click to modify these fields. So we could put in the page size. We could also put in the author name. And we can leave other fields blank for later on in drawing mode. We can then put the day's date, page scale, and other information. So we can add notes or other information on our page. So inside the Annotate tab, we can click Note, and we're just going to place an unattached note. So our selection option will be in free space. We can type in dimensions millimeters. Now that's much too small, so we'll change the font size. We can also move it around the page. We can change the color, and we can fix up any typos. So the last thing we'll look at is making symbols, such as the third angle projection symbol. Now we can do that in the Sketch toolbar, but sketching within this format is quite different to sketching in, say, Extrude or Revolve mode. And to assist us, we'll turn a draft grid on. This allows us to snap points as we sketch our components. So we'll ensure that the grid is shown. Our type will be Cartesian. And grid parameters, we can change our spacing to 1 millimeter. Click OK. And then we'll zoom in to our region of interest. And our grid appears. We can then use our line tools and circle tools to make various symbols. So I'll just do this quickly to illustrate the point. We can use our circle tool. And then the line tool. Then we'll just put in some dummy center lines. We're not too concerned for this purpose. Okay, then we can zoom out with our completed template. So we started by creating borderlines using the Edge Offset tool. We then put in tables and modified those for the title block. Then showed you how to insert free text in space, and then using the sketching mode you can create symbols. Okay, so now that we've created our format, we can demonstrate using that in a drawing. So we can open up an existing part, click File, New. We want a new drawing. We're going to select Empty with Format, and we can browse for our format, assuming it's in the same working directory. Click OK, and then drawing mode opens with our template. So we can insert a general view of our part. So we'll just choose a front view quickly and click No Hidden, and we'll turn our datum axes off. We can now add more information to this title block. So under the Table tab, we can click our cells, call this Part 1. We can put in the date. We can also put in the scale. I mean, this information isn't correct, but it just illustrates how we can modify our title block. We can then dimension our model as we normally would. But once we're ready to print, sometimes printing can be a little bit tricky to get the plots lined up correctly. My preference is instead to click File, Save As, and we can choose our options to a PDF. So this will print our drawing as a PDF, and it should be scaled exactly to an A4 sheet. So we can click OK. We can change our resolution, select different color settings, click OK, and that's now produced a PDF of our part, and you can see here it's been scaled to the page borders. So this is quite a useful technique if you're printing any document for that matter. Often saving as a PDF gives a good indication that the page size and scale is correct. Once you've opened this in PDF Viewer, you can then print this as you normally would.